It is a common phenomenon that we have a short attention span. That's a human condition, and the social media consumer society makes this tendency even worse. We have a tendency to not be able to focus our mind. The lack of concentration is very, very widespread. We are challenged by this inability to have a single pointed attention. And the consequences of that are huge. Because, on the other hand, if we would have that laser sharp focus of the mind, we could achieve basically anything. The power of the mind is one of the most amazing features that we have at our disposal. Yet frequently we are not able to tap into that field because we are not in control of our minds. And the cost we indirectly pay for that is huge. We're missing out on so much. The opportunity cost is enormous. Because if we would be more clear, focused, centered, sharp, lucid, and able to make decisions with precision, then we would be a lot more successful in our life, but also more productive. And in that way, more relaxed, more calm, more clear. And as a consequence of that, our relationships would improve as well. So do not underestimate the problem that we are confronted with. There is an urgent need to figure out this fundamental problem of the human mind not being able to focus. That is the mainstream problem, yet there are powerful solutions to help you to practice that fundamental skill. Before we learn and study and explore this and that special area of human knowledge and interest, let's first start with the instrument with which we receive knowledge in general, and that is our mind. If our mind is not clear, then all attempts to study and learn are somewhat futile. We try hard, but we're not going anywhere. We're going in circles, and sometimes it can be even a vicious circle. We try, and we don't manage to remember and memorize, and still there's fuzziness and fluff and unclarity and drama and uncertainty and so on. And then it leads frequently in a downward spiral, in a kind of defeat, giving up, victim role, and I never managed, and I tried so many times, and I'm not going anywhere. And then we have a tendency to give up, which is tragic, which is so sad because we have all wonderful dreams. We used to have high ideals, beautiful intentions of making this world a better place, of contributing to the well being of other beings, and also to, of course, be successful in our own life. But where did this high ambition go? It got compromised, and watering it down and diluting it and settling for less. And a lot of that is related to our inability to focus. Having the long term commitment and continuity to focus on a goal. This commitment is actually also related to concentration. We narrow down, we single out a certain area, range of goals, and then we just go for it. And we don't allow ourselves to be distracted. So it has this long term perspective over weeks, months, years, maybe even decades, some long term life goals where we need to stay on track, on target, and just be aligned with our life's mission. So that's the long term version of it. And then there's medium, short term, and shortest term attention span, the kind of 3 second scrolling social media attention span, where if it's not completely bang, boom, bing, super flashy pink elephants and fancy, I don't know, stunts of bungee jumping or you name it, somehow provocative stuff, which triggers like, whoa, scandalizing, then our attention span is basically nil. It's just kind of, you didn't catch my attention in the first half second, I continue scrolling. this is how deteriorated our attention span and ability to focus has gotten. So don't underestimate the scope of the problem and take measures to find solutions, counterbalance. How to develop focus of the mind is, of course, the question. And the answer is related to concentration techniques, which are cultivated a lot in the yogic tradition. So it is surprising, maybe for you, that in the ancient Indian yogic tradition, we find comparatively very few mentions about the postures known as asanas. What we nowadays continue to consider to be yoga, the posture based asana practice, is actually only a tiny fraction of classical Indian yoga. The majority of techniques, practices, tools, recommendations is actually about how to deal with the mind. And there's a variety of recommendations for that. A lot of techniques for purification, releasing, and then also adjacent practices related to the energetic energy work, the pranayama, yogic breath work, and others. And very specifically, also techniques how to deal with the sensual input, the stimulation coming via the sensual gateways, how to deal with that, and how to learn to internalize and not be distracted looking around and being all over the place, not listening around without plugging the ears, being able to internalize and listen to the silent voice of the soul calling from my heart. So avoiding those secondary distractions and focusing on the inner priorities. So variety of techniques for that internalization, and lots of practices for concentration. So the ability to focus the mind is one of the highest priorities on the yogic path, because if we do not develop that single pointed concentration, we're in many ways not going anywhere in meditation. In Sanskrit yogic language, we call it ekagrata. The single pointed focus of our mind is a prerequisite, many teachers would assume. Concentration is a prerequisite for meditation. So don't underestimate. And then, of course, in yoga, there's a lot of focus on meditation and altered states of consciousness known as samadhi, and going all the way towards the spiritual awakening. So this is what the ancient yogic tradition is a lot about, and the asanas are just a little side role preparation and maintenance of this physical body that we have. So yoga offers a variety of those concentration practices and can be so powerful. One of the most famous ones is, for example, the purification technique of the mind known as Trataka. Trataka is a gazing technique in which we are staring at a single spot. So we are fixing our gaze on an object, which can be either something external, one point in front of us. A famous example is the candle, gazing at the flame of oil lamp or a candle, and having that single pointed focus without blinking, gazing at that external object. There's a variety of other objects such as the moon, stars, some statues, mandalas, yantras, and other spiritual objects can be used for that gazing technique. And there's a whole science how to build up the duration that you can gaze and glare at that object, not just with the eyes, but in yoga we would say with all three eyes. So with your two physical eyes and with your third spiritual eye, you are fixing your entire attention stream on that chosen object. And because we are visual beings as humans, there is a strong connection between our visual sense and our mind. So where the eyes go, our mind follows. And where the mind goes, the energy flows. So we bring all our energetic and mental impact onto the chosen object. And then you will see that there can be even an exchange giving and receiving, a dynamic, energetic interaction between the object that you are looking at and you can unfold. People experience kaleidoscopic visions and many energetic, strong phenomenon and altered states of consciousness if you develop that practice to a deeper level. If you allow yourself to not only glare for a few seconds, but to keep on gazing for minutes and minutes and minutes at a time. I myself tried that for dozens of minutes, and I had friends who tried this for hours, just having a fixed gaze on a single spot and developing that single pointed attention and focus. And out of that ability, secondarily, your concentration in daily life tasks will improve and you will be more clear, sharp, focused, lucid, and more discerning in your analysis. And you will be able to focus more continuously on the things which matter to you. And that's again, in the long run, your big life goals, intermediate steps, and also in the short attention span of focusing your mind on things which actually matter, and notice that, wow, I should actually stop scrolling and not watch another YouTube video now, but just practice some breath awareness, internalize, and become aware how much my mind is wandering. Okay, my mind is moving, but I'm not just my mind. I detach, I observe my mind moving, and that you will see as a consequence calms down the mind. And when you cultivate and practice that for extended periods, you will naturally be more relaxed, calm, centered. And out of that stability and groundedness, you'll be able to then also focus your mind and direct it intentionally at those things which truly matter. I'm looking forward to explore further steps of that. I'm curious if you can please share some of your experiences with your monkey mind, as we call it, how crazy it can be all over the place, and what has helped you to learn to focus. So please share your experiences in the comments below so we can learn from each other. And I'm very much looking forward to explore deeper steps of this yogic journey together. Loving wishes from Bali. All the best to you, and see you very soon.